Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you. These days are happy days. These days are Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday.
Welcome to our preliminary final edition, Keith and Naomi. Keith, two big games last week. Couple of teams are out. And, what's the wash-up? We had Leongatha and Tarralgon on... Sorry, we'll go to Saturday. Sale and Maffra. Sale had a good comprehensive win against Maffra.
Yeah, they certainly justified their premiership favouritism. I think conditions weren't easy, very difficult, but Sale seemed to adjust to that pretty well and looked an accomplished side. Just too good for Maffra. Maffra never looked like really threatening. They had a bit of a burst rate in the first quarter where they got 3 goals quickly, but that was only catch-up. I suppose for Sale, the biggest worry out of that was Lockie Todd, who came off, I think in the last quarter. He'd been in good form for Sale, and he came up which looked like either a collarbone or a broken arm or something like that. But they got some players may come back for the grand final. They had 3 missing at the weekend: Luke Collins, Brendan Racknow and Corey Schultz. So I don't know where that places them, whether they'll get back, whether they're sick enough. But there's been some amazing recoveries from serious injuries and illnesses and whatever already in the final, so they may be back in business. But yeah, they were very good, and just too good for Maffra. Maffra disappointing a bit. Their forward situation didn't work at all, and their 3 guns up forward, kicked 2 goals between them, and a few out of bounds on the pool and whatever.
And then the next day, Leongatha, whilst it was only a 21-point victory, but Leongatha looked like they were in control for most of the game. Or I thought they were anyway.
Oh, they certainly were.
I'm glad you backed me up there, Keith.
No, certainly were. And any time Tarralgon looked as if they might get back in the game, and they made some really spirited and determined efforts to get back in the game. Leongatha had the answers, and it's a good game. I don't think Leongatha were really in their best form by a long shot, so I think they've got a bit of upside. And but I thought their game was good. I know they've had some injuries, and they've got a few, a couple of what they'd regard as their key players out. But I was just looking through their list today. It's still a pretty favourite list.
Yeah. And, but I think a couple of those blokes might have carried an injury in, but I think now that they've won, I think they've got the bogey off their back, and I think Holt kicked 6. He was very strong, wasn't he?
He was good. He was excellent, and I just thought the whole side. I thought the inclusion of Tamata in the ruck, Justin Tamata in the ruck, gave them a bit more. They got well beaten against Maffra the previous week. Gordis being released to go across the half-back line. He's a great player, and just to hold them there, I thought he had a terrific influence on the game. Klingon again was excellent. Bit of a mystery with Cole Sandbrook not coming on the field until half-time, but when he did come on, he was terrific. I understand he might have been a bit ill or something like that, but gee, a big risk not having him on for that first half, or at least the first quarter. But they got away with it.
And I think the coach, Josh Jennings and Lee Stockdale, kicking 3 in the last quarter, they had a real hard crack at it, didn't they?
Oh, they did. Michael Cooper and and a few others had a real go. They didn't give up without a fight, but just not good enough for Leongatha.
Now, in the netball Saturday, Naomi, quick wrap up on that one.
Well, Tarralgon got off to an early start and looked to be the informed side, but early in the second quarter, once Leongatha started looking towards their forward line and using the strength that they've got in Meg down in that goal shooting lineup. They went strength to strength. Traralgon's goalers stopped shooting. They tried a different lineup in the second half and it still didn't work, and Leongatha in the end were the stronger team.
Okay, and then on the next day, I see here, I'm not sure whether I've got to be prepared with a hanky for you. I've got it just in case.
Come on!
But I see C and B, and even in A grade, your team came a cropper.
Yeah, Druin didn't have the best of weeks, unfortunately. Up to half time, they're actually in the lead against Sale, but coming out in the third quarter, it was Sale who just had the determination, looked like they wanted it more, who were prepared to fight for the ball. And the biggest difference again was the accuracy of the goaling. Sale kept going, and the two Druin goalers, who are usually known for their strengths in goaling, just weren't able to stand up, and Sale definitely got over the line with a decent win in the end.
The Druin netballers mightn't have had a good day on Sunday, but they seem to be having a pretty good night. The last I saw them on Sunday night.
Yeah, that probably would
And
be
Monday
there.
morning?
And Monday morning, okay. Well, you weren't part of that, were you, Naomi?
Of course not.
All right, we'll go to the main football game. We've got Leongatha playing off against Mafra, and I suppose if we just go through a couple of matchups there, mate.
Well, before you get on to those, you did indicate there on Sunday that you'd make a special mention of Jake Best and one brilliant thing he did there.
Oh, that goal, I have. Jake, you'll be watching this at work. That goal you kicked, mate, that was a ripper. I don't know, how long was it? We'll say a 60-metre goal at least,
30
mate. I know, but it looked like a 60.
metres.
It was a ripper goal. And I actually kicked a couple of really good goals, but well done.
Actually, I thought his best one when he ran backward and got poleaxed. He got that free kick and a 50-metre, and it was his second goal in a couple of minutes, gave them a good break at three-quarter time. But
Well
all the
done,
best,
mate. Jake.
All the best.
And I see you're playing against your cricket teammate as well in Nathan Freetag. I hope you're giving him a bit of stick out there. All right, I suppose Holt, who's going to contain Dwayne Holt?
Mafra plays at fullback. And that was one of the issues Mafra had last week in their defence against Sale. Sam Bristow certainly going to John Gooch, and Gooch has been a really important component of that forward line this week, and there's Bristow's got to go to Gooch and had to on Saturday. It left Sam Tudor to go on to Ferguson, and gives away height and a fair bit of other stuff. Got caught one out a lot against Ferguson because of the way Sale played them, and Mafra weren't able to get them back. So I think it'll be one of the big things that Mafra will be looking at this week, how they set up their back line. To counter the Holt. He's deceptively strong.
Yeah.
And he's got a good jump, and he's very sharp on the lead. So the key to stopping him is further up the ground, I think, Chris.
Well, the thing about it too, I think, okay, Bristow there, but then you've got Chris Verboon at centre forward, and I mean, the important thing there, he's got height. And he can take a good mark. So you would imagine possibly Ben Batala on there, but then you put Benny there and it takes away his floating across the half-back line. So they have got a couple of issues there. But then again, in the forward line for Mafra, you've got Adrian Burkill, Jack Tatterson, Daniel Bedgegood. Are they going to play a bit better? I mean, they were down a bit last week. You wouldn't think they'd do it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, well, Adrian's one of those, he has his good days and he has his not so good days, and when it's a good day, I don't think anyone stops him. But the other thing with Leongatha now, with Gorda set across that half-back line, I think that gives them a real asset there. It's a good side. The Leongatha defence is good. I was very impressed with it the weekend. The lesser names, as you may say, stood up really well, and I just thought their defence was excellent and probably the best aspect of their game.
Well, their back line, like Rhett McLennan's gone in there, and the coach was playing there early, but he's a very good player. You've got Benny Geets who head down and backside up, so I mean, they're all goers there, but you know, everything's revolves around the on-ball, and you look at the on-ball brigade, and you know, there's some great names there at Mafra, Calvin Porter, Benny Coleman, Gary Jones, but the new brigade of Taz Kling and Zach Vernon, I think they might have an edge on them.
Right, yeah, and I think this is where the rucks will be a really key thing when Mafra flogged Leongatha, week before last. The rucks set it up, Connolly set it up. He had Owen Booth in to help last week against Sale, so he'll be better for that game. So it's really going to be important in those ruck contests to give the midfielders a chance. I think there might even be a bit more depth in Leongatha's midfield than Mafra's. All in all, I reckon Leongatha will bounce back, beaten by whatever it was, 80 odd points in the qualifying final. I'm tipping Leongatha to come back and win this one.
Yeah, another bloke that's been playing well is Roy Mullins, who's a junior, played junior into league, went out to a Melbourne club and he's come back. But Roy this year's been playing very well. And Patrick Cundallen, who's one of their young fellas, he played a great game.
Well, not just it, but Zach Vernon was very good.
Vernon, yeah.
I was very impressed with Stone at the weekend, and Dylan Westaway, another young bloke who came in. I thought he more than held his own, and in fact I thought he was one of Leongatha's better players.
Yeah, so you tip
Leongatha. Yep.
Yeah, I think Leongatha will catch
That's all my mates at Mafra.
Yeah, they'll shoot us now. Joe and all the boys up there. Sorry, fellas. The netball.
So looking into the netball, Sale versus Traralgon. The last 2 weeks, Sale's offensive line have been their real strength. Their shooters both weeks in a row have been awarded best on court. On the weekend, Lara played a beautiful game in goal attack, and I think that it'll come down to whether or not Caitlin Ponton can cut down her offensive drive. Also, it'll come down to, in reverse, Stacey O'Brien. She's the midfielder for Traralgon. She carries a lot of their ball, makes a lot of their play. So whether or not it's Casey McKay or someone else from Sale that lines up against her, but whether or not they can slow down that drive. Look, if you'd asked me before Saturday, I would have said Traralgon was definitely the team, but Sale really look like they want it. Sale playing the best netball that I've seen them play in weeks, and they actually have a real hunger for it. So I'm going to go Sale. I wouldn't be surprised if I get the upset, but yeah, Sale are playing.
You haven't been doing.
I've been doing all that great, so you know, who knows? But no, Sale played great on the weekend. They came out there, they looked like they wanted it. The coaching staff have been doing some really good interchange that's really been paying off for them, and I think that they've got the youth and the determination that just wants to get them that one more step.
Okay, and just in finish, we've got a junior vote count tomorrow night at Morwell, which...
That's Wednesday, because by most time most people will see this, it's probably...
Okay, it's Wednesday night, which we tape this on Tuesday night in these elaborate studios. And that is 13 and under, 15 and under, 17 and under in netball, and in the footy it's 16s and 18s. We'll have our game on Saturday, and then on Monday we'll have the senior vote count. So when we see you next week, we'll be able to tell you all our medal winners.
Yep.
And come to Mummy on Saturday for a great game, and we'll see you next week.